bizarre stories from the subscribers. Hi Leo Augusto, I'm Brian, and today I'll share a story that happened to me. Well, when I was 7 years old, we had a babysitter who took care of me and my two sisters. 5 days ago, I had my birthday party and my parents had rented a bounce house. Wow, that thing was awesome, my God. You could jump so high that I reached the second floor of the house and saw my window, my room. It was awesome, man. I asked my babysitter if I could go down there and play a little in the bounce house, right? Before they returned it, she let me go, but with one condition, that I be careful not to go too high, right? Avoiding any accident, I agreed and ran off to have fun. I got there, climbed onto the bounce house, and started. I realized that playing without using my full strength in my legs wasn't that much fun. Something told me to jump with everything I had. Jump higher, boy. That's when I started using a lot of strength in my legs so I could go really high, man. After I jumped about 5 times, I looked at my bedroom window. I saw a man all dressed in black standing there staring at me. I couldn't see his face because everything was black. I froze from how scared I was, man. I lost my balance and ended up being thrown out, man. I fell hard, dude. I don't remember much after that. I just remember waking up with my head bandaged in the hospital. After that, I never saw that thing that appeared in my room again. I keep wondering what that thing was and why it suddenly showed up in my room. Thank you, Leo Augusto, for reading my story. Hello, Leo Augusto. My name is Rafael. I'm 7 years old and I really like your channel. I'm going to tell you a story that happened to me when I was at the pizzeria with my friend Davi, his sister Leticia, and his cousin Arthur. There was a playground there where we were playing, right? There were also 2 big stuffed animals, a red bear and a giraffe. As soon as I looked at them, I didn't really like the way they looked. We went to our table, ate some slices of pizza there, just chilling. We saw that the stuffed animals had disappeared, but we didn't care and kept playing. Then we went to another place, you know, where there was a seesaw and those little things, and we stayed there messing around. When we came back, the stuffed animals were lying near our table. Arthur put them on our chairs and we went back to playing, right? After about 10 minutes, we went back to the table and the stuffed animals were gone from there. We got scared because there weren't any other kids who could have touched them. And the most curious thing is that our pizza was gone too. I asked the adults who were inside if they saw anything. No one saw anything. Afterwards, Davy's parents got the car and we left. On the way, Davy said he saw the giraffe and the bear outside, carrying the pizza in their hands and eating. I didn't see anything. We were so scared that we never went back to that place. Davy's parents said they could be spirits that took over the stuffed animals and were hungry, so they ate our pizza. Well, Leo, I hope you like this story that happened to me. Hello, Leo Augusto. My name is Nicole and I am 12 years old. My story happened recently. I went to my friend's house to watch a horror movie. Before we started watching, there were some boys outside who were trying to scare us. Because they knew we were going to watch a horror movie, right? So they were messing with the house's power switch. My friend's brother kept messing with the switch all the time. We didn't pay attention to that and they got tired of trying to scare us. As soon as they left, we started hearing noises inside the house.
My friend said, "Guys, how are there noises happening in here if the boys went to play somewhere else?"
We had locked the door. There was no way anyone could get in. Everyone got scared, but then the noises stopped. The light started flickering frantically for exactly 6 seconds. Then I started feeling sick. I felt something really bad inside me. The girls thought I was joking, but I wasn't messing around. Out of nowhere, the music box that was on the shelf started playing.
Really?
Even so, we kept watching the movie until the end. We had a snack, and when we were watching another one, I saw a woman in white at the kitchen door looking at me. She went to the music box and played it. I ran out of the house in desperation and left. The next day they asked why I left like that and said they hadn't seen anything, that the music box just fell on the floor without anyone touching it. I never went back to that friend's house again.
Bizarre stories from subscribers.
Hi Leo, I've been subscribed to your channel for a long time. My name is Alanis and I'm 10 years old. This story happened at my school when a friend brought a really pretty bracelet. During recess, I asked her what bracelet that was and she told me the following. Oh, this bracelet here? I'm going to throw it away because every time I sleep with it, I wake up all scratched up. I found it on the street the other day and thought it would be cool. But I think it's cursed, and she showed me the supposed scratches. From that point on, I was so traumatized that I couldn't hear anything else she said. Since all the girls around were scared, I wanted to act brave and I said, "Give me that bracelet, girl. You probably scratched yourself and didn't even notice." "Give me that bracelet. I'll sleep with it tonight and I'll prove there's nothing supernatural about it." I took the bracelet and put it on my arm. When night came, I slept with it on. But I felt sharp pains at night, and when I woke up, I was all scratched up. I thought I move around a lot when I sleep, so I must have done this to myself. And I slept again with the bracelet. And the next morning, I had scratches on my stomach. On my back, everywhere. Weird scratches. I took the bracelet and threw it in holy water. I caught it and threw it in the trash, but it didn't end there. The next day, I went to the backyard with my younger sister and we were playing with some stones. I kept picking up the biggest ones until I saw a giant one. When I took it out of its place, underneath was the worst thing possible. The bracelet. Just like I had thrown it in the trash, I tossed it far away from my house and never saw it again. Hi Leo Augusto, my name is Mateus and I'm here to tell you a story that is a legacy from my family. This story, taken from my grandfather's research diaries, is told with great seriousness by my family and is passed down from generation to generation. A few years after the end of World War II, my grandfather Eduardo became an anthropology researcher. And because of that, he was very interested in ancient societies and did a lot of research about them. One day he met an adult man named Francisco. He was an anthropologist with field experience. He saw the sparkle in my grandfather's eyes and took him under his wing as an apprentice for his research. Quickly, the two became great friends, knew each other very well, and were always together researching whatever it was. At a certain point in my grandfather's research diary, he starts to report that Mr. Francisco was becoming strange. Suddenly, he started to become quiet and stopped being communicative with my grandfather, and the situation got even worse. Months after that, it was reported that he was becoming more aggressive and impatient. My grandfather would ask if something was wrong, but he never answered. Some time passed and Mr. Francisco broke the silence and revealed everything that was happening and the reason for his stress. The truth is that he was doing research on a very ancient people who lived in the Amazon, and that these people worshipped a very sinister kind of entity. The more he studied about this entity, the stranger and more afraid he felt. After these revelations, he said he wouldn't give any more details. but that he had something important to do and needed my grandfather's help. He said he talked to the university leadership where they worked and managed to convince them to organize an expedition to where these people's cemetery would be. And so it was done. My grandfather says that when they left for the Amazon, Sir Francisco started to pray. The strange thing is that he wasn't actually religious. And what's even stranger is that this fearless man, who had always been very cheerful, was asking for mercy from a god he hadn't believed in until then. By taking survival equipment and a walkie-talkie, they could communicate easily. At this point in the diary, he says they arrived at a stone structure hidden in the middle of the woods, covered in moss and worn down by rain erosion, entering this damp and cold place. It is said that there was a large corridor that ended with a statue of some kind of animal at the end. The path there was quite frightening because the bodies were on the walls. So there were some bones scattered on the floor because the structure was old and couldn't withstand the passage of time. When we got to the end, Mr. Francisco surprised my grandfather by pulling out a strange key. It was an old and very rusty key to the point that some parts were missing. With that key, he managed to open the lock of what would be the coffin that was under that animal statue. To my grandfather's surprise, what was supposed to be a coffin was actually a door that revealed a long staircase that seemed to descend into infinity. My grandfather said that the cold wind coming from that door made him feel nauseous. If the atmosphere was already eerie, now the game is going to change from here on out because Mr. Francisco turns to my grandfather and says something like this: "Eduardo, my friend, this is where we say goodbye. From now on, I ask you to stay here documenting everything that I tell you through this walkie-talkie." My grandfather was outraged as he wanted to go too and wouldn't abandon his friend. "If you don't do what I'm telling you to do, we'll go back to São Paulo and we'll never see each other again." So my grandfather, even though he wanted to insist, agreed to stay there. So Mr. Francisco grabs his flashlight, water and communicator and starts going down the stairs. At that moment, my grandfather says he waited about 20 minutes until there was some response. He was already getting chills from that dark and poorly lit place, surrounded by bodies that had already decomposed for centuries, and then, to his relief, he gets a response. "Eduardo, are you there?" My grandfather answers and immediately asks, "Mr. Francisco, where are you? I'm very worried." Then the conversation changes completely. "Eduardo, I was wrong. Close everything and run to the camp. Go back to Manaus, where they were staying, and report everything to the authorities." My grandfather, confused, replies, "What do you mean? I don't understand." "I would go now to go." Mr. Francisco changes his tone and answers him, "Eduardo, it's an order. Close everything and leave." When Francisco stops talking, a static noise lingers on the phone and Mr. Francisco doesn't answer anymore. My grandfather didn't abandon him. He sat waiting for his friend until after about 5 minutes or so of silence, he got a response. "I was wrong. I can't. I'm a fraud. Now I'm condemning everyone because of my greed." And after that, my grandfather said he heard a loud noise coming from the staircase. A loud sound like something very heavy had fallen on the floor. Then he looks into the darkness of the stairs and calls out for Francisco. "Francisco! Where are you?" My grandfather says that at that moment, a non-human voice, a monstrous and trembling ghostly voice, answered him.
"Francisco is dead."
My grandfather then closed off the stairs and ran for his life. This report was never made public by my grandfather's choice. He only told his wife, but apparently something went wrong since it ended up reaching me as well. My father tells me that my grandfather was very serious and quiet, and my grandmother says that he wasn't always like that. The fact is that we'll never know what changed my grandfather's life, and I keep wondering if this story is really true. Could that thing still be in that place? Thank you very much for reading my story, Leo.
Bizarre stories from subscribers.
I love my dad. He's a very happy person, and he always spreads his joy to the whole family. For as long as I remember him coming home from work and playing with me for many hours, even when he was exhausted, because his job had taken up most of his energy. But even so, he would come and play happily, always with a smile on his face. It was like that until I turned 8 years old. I remember it like it was today. My father came home acting strange that day. He didn't pay much attention to me and went straight to his room. I felt a strange energy about him, and it stayed that way for days. I thought something had happened because that wasn't my father. He seemed like someone else. Someone or something is pretending to be him. I don't know how this could have happened, but that guy isn't my father. He's something else. He never had any patience with me. He stopped playing with me and giving me attention, you know? He told me to be quiet and not to get on his nerves. He was always grounding me for any reason. My mom said he was having problems at work, and that's why he was like that. Stressed out and angry at everything and everyone. But I didn't fall for that story. That's not my dad, I'm sure of it. My real dad is tied up somewhere, unable to come home. Today, at 15 years old, I still haven't found my real dad. The creature is still living among us. I've already tried everything like using holy water. In case it was some kind of demonic possession or something, I spread crucifixes all over the house, but nothing. I even used silver to see if there would be any reaction. And nothing. I don't know what kind of creature this is. Help me get my dad back. Leave a solution in the comments. Thank you, Leo Augusto, for sharing my story. When I was 10 years old, I lived in the countryside in a small town in Espiritu Santo. There was an abandoned hospital there that must have been around 150 years old. It was all run down, but you could still go inside because its structure wasn't deteriorated. Every time we passed by it on a dirt road, my parents and I would get chills, and we almost always heard screams coming from there. When my mother spoke trying to calm me down, she said it was just some kids messing around in there and
It wasn't.
so I wouldn't be afraid. But I didn't believe it because her face told me otherwise. One day, my friend Kawan and I went to this abandoned hospital and followed the dirt road. And to get to this hospital, we had to go into the little forest inside. On the way, there were several little houses before we reached our destination, right? These little houses were destroyed and completely overgrown with weeds. And the strangest thing was, there was a house that seemed to be protected with reinforced wooden windows covering them up, you know? And the door was locked, so we thought there was someone inside. We knocked on the door. Hello, anybody home? And nothing. After about 10 minutes standing at the entrance, we heard footsteps inside the house. We were surprised and waited. The door opened. It was an old man, about 70 years old, holding a shotgun with a terrible look on his face. We asked what was going on, why the place was abandoned. Then the old man said, "Get out of here."
Region, quickly! Come on, run! Run for your lives! Hurry up! This place was cursed by the evil thing. If you stay here, you'll be next.
But we didn't go. We just moved away a little and waited for you to enter the house. We kept going down the road and saw the hospital. It was about 3 stories tall and pretty big. When we got there, we went through the ground floor, and that's when we heard a woman's voice coming from upstairs.
Come here, boys. Come play with me.
We were surprised because we thought we were alone in that creepy place. We looked up to the 3rd floor and saw the blonde girl waving at us and calling. We were scared to go in, but since there was a girl inside acting all chill, why not go in and see what's going on? So we went into the reception. It looked like a post-apocalyptic movie, man. Everything was messed up and dirty. And looking closely at the chairs, there were some really weird marks on the upholstery and on the floor. With clothes left behind, it looked like someone had been there, but they just disappeared out of nowhere. Kawami called us over to see something at the reception desk. There were the same strange marks with scraps of clothing. We ignored all that and started going up to meet the girl on the 3rd floor. The place was full of the same clothes scattered on the floor. On the stairs leading to the floor where the girl was supposed to be, there was something written on the wall. Don't accept anything. How weird someone wrote not to accept, but accept what? Man, this place is really weird. We better go back, huh? Stop being such a coward, man. The girl is up there waiting for us. If you're going to chicken out, I'm going. So I followed Kawa. And at that moment, the girl showed up.
Hi, I was waiting for you. The last time I played with someone was a long time ago. Since I got here, everyone has been disappearing. And I just wanted to play. Do you want to play with me? Friend? Huh?
I'm not liking this at all, man. Look at her. She doesn't look like a normal person. And what a weird conversation, huh? The girl appeared before us suddenly. Before I could step away, Kawan opened his mouth and said he wanted to play with her. That's when things went south, my friend. The girl grabbed my friend's hand and he started spinning. He spun around like a top. Until the moment came when Kawan was gone, man. And his clothes flew off. Now I understood everything that was happening in that abandoned hospital. The people disappeared because this girl somehow made it happen. With them, it was hard for me to move, seeing what happened right in front of me. My friend vanished into thin air and I didn't know whether to cry or if I should run. When I realized it, we were going down the stairs and it came to my mind. The phrase written on the wall, "Don't accept anything." Maybe someone was trying to say not to accept playing with it. The girl, because her fate would be to turn to dust. I heard her footsteps coming down, following me. That's when, as I reached the ground floor, she appeared in front of me.
Let's play. Your friend left too quickly. Now he's become decoration in this hospital. Let's play.
That's when I heard a gunshot and the girl disappeared. The old man from that shack showed up with his shotgun and told me to run and never come back there. I didn't think twice, my friends, and I got out of there. While I was running through the woods, I heard a few more shots until they stopped. Ha ha.
Ha ha, bucket here.